You ever have one of those days where your life flips upside down in under 3 minutes? Because that's how fast it took for my $60,000 McLaren to vanish from my garage, gone. Just like that, after some guy walked up wearing a cheap badge and waving around fake paperwork. And the wildest part, when I tried to stop him, the HOA president, Deborah Patterson, yeah, her took me to court, swearing her son was just doing his job, repossessing cars as if I'd missed a payment or something, and not, you know, outright stealing my pride and joy. You can't make this stuff up. But here's the thing about me, I document everything, and that's probably the only reason I survived what turned into the messiest neighborhood court battle you can imagine. I mean, do you want to guess who cried first in court? I'll let you take your bets. Just don't scroll yet, because this story only gets weirder. Let me back up a sec. Name's Ruben. I'm 35, an architect. And after a decade of grinding, I finally bought my dream home, a classic colonial with a circular driveway, the kind of place you work your whole life to afford. That red McLaren parked front and center, man, that was my badge of finally making it. I thought I'd landed in the perfect little suburb where folks just left you alone. Boy, was I wrong about that. Turns out when you stand out, some people don't just notice you, they target you. Looking back, my car might as well have been a flare gun in a field of beige sedans and sensible minivans. Every time I pulled in, neighbors would pause mid-lawn mow or pretend to be texting while sneaking glances at the shiny red paint. I figured it was normal curiosity, but I couldn't shake the sense that their stares carried something heavier, like they were measuring me up, trying to decide if I really belonged. 3 weeks in, I get my first email from Deborah. If you've ever dealt with an HOA president who thinks she's the mayor, you know the tone cordial, professional, but under the surface threatening. Your car draws unwanted attention, she wrote. I read that line over and over. Unwanted attention. In my own driveway, second week, another email, this time about my grass being too long. It wasn't. And my landscaper's truck parking too long. He was gone in 4 hours. I literally measured my grass against the neighbor's same length. Still, the emails kept coming. It became obvious this wasn't about rules, it was about building a paper trail. So I started building my own. Every letter, every violation notice pinned behind my garage door, like I was tracking a criminal case, not defending a lawn. My first HOA meeting, Deborah brings out a projector and starts showing examples of disruptive vehicles. Beat up truck, old sedan, then bam, my McLaren circled with a laser pointer. She never said my name, but every head in that room swung to me. I could feel the charge the way people averted their eyes or shifted in their seats. That's when I knew they weren't just annoyed. They'd already decided I didn't belong. It was only a matter of time before someone tried to prove it. So I fought fire with fire, installed a professional camera system, same type we use at job sites. 2 days later, flipping through footage, I spot Deborah's son Chad creeping through my driveway at dawn with something shiny on his belt, looked like a badge but didn't quite reflect right. He'd practiced, I realized, timing his steps to avoid neighbors trying not to get seen. I sent a screenshot to my buddy Marcus, who works security. His text came back fast. Fake. Wrong font. Wrong shine. Total Halloween junk. Now I was on full alert. I called for a meeting with the HOA board. Deborah tried to play it cool, spinning some nonsense about Chad just caring about security. Even the board looked lost. Nobody backed her up. If he was legit security, wouldn't they all know? My gut told me Deborah was covering for her son, and that he wasn't just playing rent-a-cop, he was targeting me. I had a choice, dig deeper or back off. Part of me wanted to let it slide, but the other part, the part that had worked too hard for this house, knew that giving in would just invite more of the same. And then came the morning, everything changed. I hit my garage door, coffee in hand, ready for my drive, and there's nothing. Empty. No broken glass, no forced entry, just gone. My heart didn't even start pounding until I checked the footage. There was Chad at 6 a.m., wearing a repo jacket, flashing that fake badge, and somehow using a real key to drive away in my McLaren. He even taped a fake repossession notice to my garage with a blurry eagle logo. I called the cops, but get this, they asked if I'm sure I paid my loan. They almost bought the scam. I started doubting myself. Maybe a payment got lost. Maybe I'd missed something. 10 seconds of panic later, I remembered paid off 8 months ago, free and clear. I went straight to my bank, got every record, every stamped release. The bank manager, God bless her, printed me the proof. and said, "You're paid in full, Mr. Thompson." Righteous anger hit me so hard I almost laughed. These people had tricked even the police. I called my lawyer, Mark. He told me not to say another word to anyone, sent him everything, video paperwork, the whole mess. Then my phone rings Deborah. Her voice was icy, like she'd already won. "Stop accusing my family. My son was doing his job. You pushed the wrong people." She was threatening me. That was it. I could back down or show her what happens when you try to outmaneuver someone who documents everything. 3 days later, I'm served lawsuit papers at my front door. Deborah was suing me for defamation and harassment, claiming I'd ruined her family's reputation with my false accusations. At the same time, my posts online about the stolen car started getting deleted for misinformation. Appeal denied. Account under review. The attack was coordinated. I almost folded. This was draining me financially, mentally. Was a car really worth all this? But I kept thinking about the next person they'd target if I just let it go. Mark started digging. Turns out Chad's badge came from a costume store and the repossession notice from a template site with a huge disclaimer for entertainment only. He found text messages between Deborah and Chad laying out the plan step by step. When we got to court, Deborah strutted in with her fancy lawyer, painting me as some entitled troublemaker. For a minute, I thought the judge bought it. Then Mark dropped the hammer security footage, fake badge receipt, text messages, audio of Deborah threatening me piece by piece. You could feel the air change. The judge's eyebrows shot up. He put a restraining order on Chad and ordered a full investigation. What came out next was even worse. Turns out Deborah had orchestrated similar harassment against other problem residents, driving some out over nothing. Chad cracked on the stand, confessing the whole thing. He admitted they'd practiced the repo multiple times, even timing how long it took, thinking nobody would check Deborah. She just shut down, no more swagger. Just a woman realizing her whole house of cards had collapsed. The sentencing was public. Chad got probation, community service, and $50,000 in restitution. Deborah lost her HOA seat, had to pay $75,000 in damages, and maybe worst, was exposed for using her position to target people she didn't like. The judge read old emails of hers out loud, stuff about the right kind of people and protecting neighborhood character. You could feel the room shrink. Even her supporters looked away. Afterward, neighbors started coming up to me. Apologies, some in tears. We should have spoken up. The new HOA board even asked me to join. I turned them down. I didn't buy this house to run anybody's life. But I stayed, and slowly things changed. People started talking, not whispering. Property values went up, but more than that, the walls came down. Kids started playing together again. Folks actually helped each other instead of spying. You know what I mean? That's the real win. 6 months on my McLaren sits where it belongs. Deborah moved across town. Her power gone. The neighbors who once watched me with suspicion now bring over banana bread and invite me to barbecues. Sometimes I still expect a violation notice, but instead I get a wave. The new board made everything transparent, votes, decisions all out in the open. No more shadow rules. One day I saw Deborah again, just a woman carrying groceries, looking tired, older. She caught my eye, whispered, "I'm sorry." I nodded. Not forgiveness, just understanding. Because at the end of the day, what matters isn't revenge or even justice in the courtroom. It's making sure nobody else has to fight that battle alone. Our community is better, stronger, and yeah, the scars are still there, but so is the lesson. Silence builds walls, courage tears them down. And I'll say this, don't ever let anyone make you feel like you don't belong just because you don't fit their picture. Document everything. Stand your ground. The system isn't perfect, but the truth, when you shine enough light on it, has a way of defending itself. So, what do you think? Who was right? Who was wrong? And what would you have done? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about what justice looks like, because it sure isn't just a verdict or a title in the driveway. It's a neighborhood where everyone actually belongs.